Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Knowledge. Welcome, everyone. This is a podcast, my first ever podcast, and this is the pilot episode. So, if you don't mind, this might go terrible, and this might go perfectly. We don't know. This is a one solo podcast. I'm just gonna host this by myself. Maybe we'll have guests in the future. Maybe host eventually. Um, I'm from Sweden. My name is Robin Johannesson. I'm 20 years old and I'm from Sweden, by the way. So it's weird to introduce not introduce, but have like guest or host that's talking that's from Sweden, but is gonna speak in English because I prefer English content nowadays. So that's why I don't have a guest or host nowadays, or now. But maybe in the future, who knows? Now I'm gonna give you a fair warning. This is a podcast which we're gonna talk about like hypothesis, basically stuff that hasn't been fact checked. And you gotta remember because we're gonna dive, or I'm gonna dive in a very deep conversation with you. You can also comment down below and talk with me and say your opinion, what is right and what is wrong. Like nothing is right on so you can speak out if you want to. You can say how you think and all that kind of stuff, because I want to make a podcast where you can go into a deep conversation without being like cancelled on like Twitter, for example. um yeah, so we're gonna talk about stuff on this podcast. So this episode we're gonna talk about human species or human evolution. uh so let's get started. So I've written down little about a small document about human species. I'm also gonna do this once every month, maybe like twice a week, or not twice a week, but twice in 1 month. I don't know how much I'm gonna do this or how frequently, because one topic is gonna be deep, so I need to do some little bit research. Now, keep in mind when I'm doing research, I'm not taking fact about the fact checking, so there might be some like false information. So this is reason why I think this podcast needs to be ground set. Like we need to have a bar, you know what I mean? So you already know that this is not gonna be fact checked. So if you're offended, then just leave, please. Anyways, so let's get started with human species. Now I have around like 2 weeks or maybe a month thinking about human evolution as an idea. And there's a lot of things that I think it's interesting about human evolution. One thing is that if you think about for example, let's say in our entire universe, are we alone? You will answer yes, but maybe there's some alien, right? You will answer that, yeah. Most agree, right? But when we talk about Earth, are we all alone in Earth? And I guess most people are gonna say no, because we have animals, we have plant, we have species, right? But actually, what I believe or what I think of is that we actually are alone in this in this planet. And what I mean about that is, for example, let's say ape or monkey, right? Can they feel an emotion? Can they trade with money for a banana? Can they see a movie and react? Can they even do YouTube? Like, we only human species. We only the species that can do all this kind of stuff. And it's so fascinating why just us. Now there's a lot of question that raises like, are we gonna have are we gonna have a competition? Or there gonna be another human evolution of human species, but not exactly human, more like an ape species that is competing with human. And while there's most people are arguing that it's not gonna happen because there's a lot of what you call it, like the human evolution didn't exactly goes as a way that the modern nature was sort of heading. So basically, what I've read and so far understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but the human evolution didn't happen. It happened because of we tried to kill bigger animals, but in order to kill those huge animals like the old mammoth, um, we needed to have tactics, right? We need to have teamwork. In order to do that, we need to be able to communicate, right? So instead of saying, right, you need to have a sort of language between humans. So that's why you can have language. And when we got to farming plants and animals, you need to have something that a person wants for a favor, right? So we invented the money, right? So it's interesting to see how human evolved from just killing bigger animals. Now the second question is, what if we did that same thing that evolved us to apes or other animals? Will that work? And I think maybe it will work, but it's gonna take a long time. I think there's a rumor, not rumor, people said online that the human evolution takes around like 1,000,000 years ago. Like it's been so long, and we don't know exactly where it started, nor do we know how long it took, and how when we got each thing, like when could we speak to each other, we didn't know exactly. But my question is now, okay, so we can't make an ape evolve itself like to humans level. How about we modify itself then? How about we take our like DNA into ape? And the when I think about that, one thing that raises up in my head is, are they gonna use that for a benefit of killing us? Because remember, those apes or other animals is still surviving, right? They are a survivor of the fitness. We are not. I'm sitting here in front of a computer. I'm not going to other human species to kill them, right? I have won the sort of competition, right? So we are at peace, right? So the apes to evolve at that level, will that make us in danger? In danger, right? Um, it's interesting to think all about that, and how it will benefit us. Now, I guess you can see the movie. Sorry for that interruption. OBS just decided to crash. I don't know if that's gonna happen again. Let's see. I also took my sweater off because it's getting hot in here. I think I took the temperature too high for this room. Anyway, what I was saying is um taking the apes to the another level maybe will make us in danger because I don't know. I think they're mostly for surviving like purpose, you know. Um, and I think it's interesting to think about how long and how far we have come, and what are the next, like what is the future for us. Um, and there's people saying that we're gonna evolve to have no longer the pinky finger anymore because it's useless for the most case. It's interesting to think about it, like that potentially we can evolve even further. Now, we might say that we are evolving with like socially, like cancer, for example. We evolved to respect another human being, whatever is a like race thing, um, like male or female, or like what you identify as, um, or whatever, right? I think it's interesting how we can sort of argue if one another human being is a racist or sexist, whatever, right? To apes and lions and elephants that doesn't care about that. So I think it's interesting to think about it. Now, are we dumb today? Like, are we human species dumb? Because if you think about it, let's say you took a lion or ape or elephant into an island and you put a human, one human, who will survive that? And the chances are probably not, because we are not the survivor of the fitness of the sort of species that are out there, right? But if you compare to hundreds or like a million human beings to 1 million apes, who will win that? Probably humans, because we have evolved to have sort of more tactics to be social, to gather information a lot quicker. Um, and I think it's very interesting to see about that. Um, Um, One thing I also research about is why can't animals speak to each other? Why can't they form a language like human? Like what was the difference between human that could speak and other species? And apparently it's because of most animals can't control the breath can't control the breath intake and vocal cords like we can. The human, what's it called, Adam Apple. Now parrots can mimic that, but they are using the muscle, and we have a vocal cord, like a vocal box, for example. So I think it's interesting that there's no exactly animal or species that can replicate us, right? Now I was thinking, what is the most closest thing that could replicate us, replicate rep, replicate there we go, replicate us. I was thinking AI robot, that is almost us, right? I was thinking which is not a whole topic, if the human evolution all of a sudden dies, like for example there's a nuke war. Let's say we want to have we want to protect our children, or we want to continue the human species, we don't want to die out like a dinosaur. So I was thinking, what if we put the DNA or like a sampling or like sperm into a robot? We can send that robot even like to Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and they can reproduce, and they can evolve, and the robot and AI can also like take account of the weather, of the sandstorm, of the coldness. Like it can take input and modify that DNA into survive that planet. Like, wouldn't that be cool? I think so, but the same question raises up like, oh, they are gonna attack us, or are they gonna be friendly? That is, I think, the most important thing when you think about if we're gonna modify something, because you gotta remember survival of the fittest, right? So that is why I think it's most important that we don't ruin this us. But it's interesting to think about. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so let's go back to audience of the human. So we evolved from Africa, which is interesting because as you clearly can see, I'm not black. How this happened? And apparently I read some articles that said I think we had a sort of disease, um, or sort of, that potentially made us white. I don't know what it's called in English, but pigments. That basically made us white skin color. Um, but it's interesting to think about that because why would you evolve from Africa? Like, why not stay in Africa? And I guess it's because it didn't have water as much, and it lacked a very animal because animal didn't have water either. I guess, right? So all of a sudden we moved from Africa into Europe and Asia and America and all that kind of stuff. Um, and it says that Homo erectus survived 2 million years ago, and they were 10 times long. Then they lived 10 times longer than human have ever existed. So we aren't even close of being the oldest species, or human species ever. Um, that raises a question: how far can we come with this knowledge? Like over 2,000 years ago, we have evolved to making computers, AI, robots, YouTube, political correctness, and politics, and war, and slavery, and like there's so much stuff that human had done in all these centuries. Like how much and how far can human go? It's so interesting to think about how far we have come. And like the same question goes again: are we dumb? Like, have we reached our maximum point? Like, can we evolve further? The answer is yes. How? And that's like no one has the answer. It blows my mind. Now, one thing that is interesting to think about when it comes to like how far we have come: are we overpowered compared to other species? Because remember, like a few million years ago, human species tried to survive from the old mammoth. Yeah. They use spears, kill it, right? Nowadays, if we saw a lion or elephant, they would take a bazooka or even a gun and just shoot it. Like, it's we have come so far that I think we are overpowered to other animals and species, and I think that is, well, I believe that is the reason why we don't see apes or elephant or lions evolving to a more sophisticated human species, like, because they we are not we are we're not a relative big threat to them. But if they would attack us, we will just be overkill. We just be overpowered to just destroying their own species history. Um, Even if we don't want to destroy them, we just do because the climate change and all that kind of stuff. I think it's interesting that no animal or species has competed with us in 100,000 years. What so? I don't believe. Not believe, but I don't think so. Maybe I should read up on that because it begs the question: why? Why haven't been a species competing with us? Like this has been like lions eating humans or bears, and like wolves and dogs can be vicious sometimes, and cats too. But like no species actually try to have some tactics and talk, communicate with other people, with other animals or species of their own, and try to kill us or maybe make us go extinct. Um, so it is interesting to think about. Yeah, I don't know. Now, it's I think it's very interesting to think about the DNA. Like, what exactly? Like, I don't know about much of DNA and how it works. I tried to research and didn't find exactly what I was looking for, because I think you can modify DNA, but the part which I'm not sure is how can you convert DNA into computing information. That is one of the most biggest like question mark on that. But apparently we can. Or sort of. Um yeah, it's interesting too because apparently we have some DNA. Some people had DNA from Neanderthal. Neanderthal was one of the species that competing with what was a Homo sapiens. Basically, there were multiple species of human, and we all tried to compete with each other to to see who can could like stay alive. There was I guess Homo erectus, Homo sapiens, and so apparently humans sapiens won, and there's no like path for a Neanderthal. Like where did they go? Apparently there's some people that has DNA from Neanderthal, but the question is still, how did we get here? And we can look out for our history that we humans are sort of addicted to war. Sorry, but humans are addicted to war, and I think the reason why is because of evolution. We have evolved to survive, and we sort of come to a point where we are not trying to kill each other, but trying to like work with each other and have more peace than ever. But how will that evolve us further? Like, I'm trying to think because obviously there's gonna still be war. There are obviously it's gonna be still some mad people. There are obviously it's gonna be people like Adolf Hitler that is gonna go insane and do a bunch of stuff. I feel like if we didn't have that, how will our future look like? Now, when I say future, I don't talk about like maybe 100 years later. I'm talking about millions of years. Like, how will a human evolve to that? Because obviously, if we look at 2,000 years ago, I think human didn't evolve much as they did like a million years ago, because we can sort of relate to the same people back then. You just have different tools. Nowadays we have computer and internet. Back then you had like the wheel. The wheel was a big thing to transfer blocks, to create pyramid, to create ATS. Is that called ATS in Greece? That building. I don't I don't know. I can't remember the name in English. But that thing, um, that they didn't without like cranes. Well, they made a human-made crane, but they didn't use like electricity or computers and internet and all of that kind of stuff to make something like that. And like obviously we have other tools, like I said, but what will that do to us in the future? Like we like, I'm pretty sure that computers and AI and like the whole IT industry is the future. Like that is gonna be the biggest thing in the future, because in cars we have GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. That is depending on electricity and computer, right? Yeah, in the video games, in phones, in a laptop, in like webcam, or not webcam, what's it called? Spy cam. I was gonna say spy cam, but surveillance, survive. Basically monitoring the people in like stores or whatever. that's gonna have a computer. Um, so there are lots of things that humans still using computer with. I think that is gonna grow more into the future of human evolution. Maybe cyber people is gonna also be a big thing. Um, Now the question comes now: if the human ev- evolve, there we go, evolve to have cyber things like cyberpunk, would that actually be happening in the future? Probably, because I can always see in the future that in 10 years maximum, that I will make a surgery for my eyes because I need to have glasses when I drive, watch cinema. Now, obviously, driving and cinema, I'm not doing that um, every day, or at least like a month, huge amount of time. So that thing like is not gonna be bothering as so much as like if I'm blind or whatever. But just having ability to oh my god, my voice. I'm very like I'm trying to do live stream and podcast, but my voice I don't get it. Why my voice? I think my vocal cords is like broken because I'm so dry inside. But I drink a lot of water, and anyway, um, like it would be nice to have like a cyber eye, like in Cyberpunk you can zoom in. Like how nice would that be? Like imagine that. Even in AR or VR, that you can have glasses and you can see um like a monitor basically, or stats of other people. Imagine if you have a Google Maps inside your eye. So no way, like even if you don't have connection or satellite signal to your phone, the glasses or the like eye or even like islands um basically where you put on your eye eyelid or whatever, um it downloading an offline map that you can see where are you going. I think it's very interesting because if we can have that, will that make us better at evolving or worse? Because yes, we are using our tools very wisely. We are also forgetting other tools and not using our strength or our brain as much, and we are relying on computer and AI to figure out how it how it will all work. Um, for example, like if we have a coconut, how we break the coconut. Maybe you can try with hands, but we will use tools. Now, in the early days, humans, early humans probably did that better than uh, we are now. The point I want to make is that we have sort of evolved to disintegrate our tactics and survival tactics, um, um, which is interesting. But we have sort of borrowed more social tactics, like how to make someone jealous or something like that. It's interesting to think about how humans have evolved. God damn, it's it's rough. My voice. God damn. Like I don't feel I have a rusty voice. I I would like to have a voice that if you can have smoked like hundreds of cigarettes, you feel that raspy voice. But this shit is not fun. God damn. Do any have a tips on how to be, I guess, not hydrated, because I'm drinking a lot of water, but apparently like my voice is not capable of like talking for 1 hour straight, which is weird. But yeah, no, I think like human evolution is so big thing to think about. There are a lot of like loopholes, and like it's a big question to answer, like how we have evolved and how we are gonna evolve in the future. Uh, And the problem is we can't really, well, we have like we can see our history, but we can't really look at other animals, see what they have evolved like as much as humans, you know, as a human, like I don't know how to say this, but evolution scale, you know. Um, but yeah, I was gonna say something, but I forgot it. No, no. Oh, the human evolution. Um, yeah, I think I've talked about the most things I must say. Like I said, this is a pilot episode, and I need to have some more water. This is embarrassing. Um, I think it's great to do some podcasts and talk about it. Like I said, I haven't fact checked everything, and I haven't referenced. So if you want to say this is wrong information or like false information, go ahead. And also you can commenting about my prediction, not my prediction, but your prediction, and your sort of thinking of the human evolution, because it's interesting concept and question to answer. Um, but yeah, like I said, this is a pilot episode. Hopefully we can have an animated background, maybe some effects, maybe a better camera, maybe better water, water, and yeah. And also, should I get a haircut? I probably do. I like to have a long haircut, but this part is getting long. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next episode of Beyond Knowledge. Now, the next episode we're gonna talk about AI. So if you have a question for AI, just write it down below this episode or video, and I'm gonna talk that in the next month or weeks, depending on how I feel about this, and also the research, because it's gonna be heavily deep as well. I thought this is gonna be longer, but because OBS is crashing for some reason and my voice is really raspy right now, I think I'm gonna save my voice and my time for you and other things. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye, y'all.